It started with a question that refused to leave my head. Why does she always leave on Sundays? First I brushed it off. Emma said she was visiting her mother, helping her with groceries, catching up. Just girl time. For months I believed her because I wanted to believe her. 6 months into marriage, trust felt sacred, like the invisible thread that held everything together. But lately that thread had started to fray. It was the small things, the way she silenced her phone when it buzzed, the sudden perfume she never wore before, the slight pause when I asked about her day. None of it screamed guilt, but together, it whispered something I didn't want to hear. Then one Sunday morning, as she tied her hair into a bun and slipped on her favorite cream sweater, I caught the faintest whiff of his cologne, the same scent her ex, Daniel, used to wear. I remember because once early in our relationship she'd said, "Daniel used to wear this. I always liked how it smelled." That memory hit like a fist. "Going to your mom's again?" I asked, pretending to scroll through my phone. She smiled softly, but her eyes darted away. "Yeah, she's been lonely lately. I won't be long." I nodded, kissed her forehead and watched her leave. But this time, instead of sitting on the couch waiting for her to return, I grabbed my car keys. If she was lying, I needed to see it. Not imagine it. Not doubt it. Know it. The streets were quiet that morning, painted in the pale light of early autumn. I kept my car a few lengths behind hers, heart thundering, palms slick on the steering wheel. She drove toward the older part of town, nowhere near her mother's house. Then she turned into a narrow side street lined with oak trees. My breath caught when she pulled up to a familiar red brick building. Daniel's apartment. I'd seen it once before, years ago, when she dropped off some things after their breakup. I parked half a block away, every part of me screaming that this was a mistake. But I got out anyway. I had to see. Through the trees I saw her knock on the door. Daniel answered. He looked just like I remembered, tall, confident, with that easy charm that made people feel like they mattered. He smiled at her, that same smile that used to make her light up. And then she walked inside. No hesitation. No guilt. Just familiarity. I stood there for a full minute, unable to move, unable to breathe. My mind replayed every Sunday morning, the hugs before she left, the love you at the door, the trust one gave her like an offering. She'd been lying every single time. I could have left. I should have. But something inside me broke, something that refused to be quiet anymore. So I walked up the path and knocked. Daniel opened the door again, surprise flickering across his face. "Mark," he said, my name sounding foreign on his tongue. Behind him Emma froze. Her hand was midair, holding a cup of coffee. The color drained from her face. "Hey," I said quietly. "Mind if I join?" No one spoke. The air was thick enough to choke on. Daniel stepped aside slowly, unsure what to do. Emma's lips parted, but no words came out. I walked in, every step heavier than the last. The room smelled like roasted coffee and betrayal. Her scarf was draped on the couch. A half-eaten muffin sat on the table. She'd been comfortable here. Too comfortable. "Mark, I can explain," she started, voice trembling. "Then explain," I said, my voice calm but my hands shaking. Daniel looked between us. "Maybe I should." "Sit down." I cut in, my eyes never leaving hers. "If we're going to have the truth, we'll all hear it." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "It's not what you think." "Really?" I said bitterly. "Because it looks exactly like what I think." She took a deep breath, clutching the coffee cup as if it could anchor her. "I come here sometimes to talk. That's all. I know how it looks, but I swear it's not physical. Daniel was my best friend before he was my boyfriend. I just never really let go of that connection." "Connection," I repeated, laughing without humor. "You're married, Emma. To me. You lied every week to see another man. What do you call that if not betrayal?" Her eyes pleaded. "It's not betrayal if—" "Yes, it is," I snapped. "Every Sunday you chose him over me. Every time you lied, you made that choice again." Silence fell like glass shattering. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "She came here because she was confused," he said softly. "But she never crossed a line. I wouldn't let her." I turned to him. "Then you knew she was married, and you still let her come here?" He lowered his eyes. "She said you two were going through a rough patch." I let out a broken laugh. "We weren't. Until now." I left before either of them could say another word. I didn't slam the door, didn't yell, didn't look back. The only sound was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. When I got home, I sat in silence for hours. Her coffee mug still sat on the counter from that morning, lipstick on the rim. Our wedding photo smiled down at me from the wall. Two people who thought they'd found forever. That night, when she came home, her eyes were swollen. She dropped her keys and whispered, "Mark, please. I made a mistake. I didn't cheat, I swear. I missed who I used to be with him." Her words broke something deeper than anger. "You missed who you were," I said quietly. "But I'm the one who's been paying for it." She stepped closer, tears falling freely. "I love you." I shook my head. "Maybe you do. But not enough to tell me the truth." I didn't file for divorce immediately. I couldn't. Part of me still loved her, still remembered the way she laughed, the warmth of her hand in mine. But every time Sunday came around, every time I heard the clock strike 10, I felt that same hollow ache in my chest. Trust, once broken, doesn't mend easily. It leaves cracks, small, invisible ones that spread quietly until one day, the whole thing collapses. A few weeks later, I packed a bag. As I walked out, Emma stood by the door, trembling. "So this is it," she whispered. I looked at her for a long moment. "You ended it long before I did." And then I left. Sometimes I still drive past that red brick building. Not because I miss her, but because I want to remind myself what truth feels like when it finally comes into the light. Betrayal isn't always about the act. It's about the silence that hides it. And in that silence, I learned the hardest truth of all. Love dies not when someone stops caring, but when someone starts lying.